On the ZK Auto Reviews channel today, we're diving into an exciting journey through history to truly appreciate one of the most iconic combat vehicles of the 20th century, a tank that has endured through decades, retained its combat value, and still strikes fear on the battlefield. Today, we're telling the story of the T-62M. Not just a tank, but a living legend, a symbol of engineering that doesn't age, it only grows stronger with time. It all began in the late 1950s. The world was on the brink of a new military era: nuclear weapons, rocket systems, rapid aviation development. All of this demanded a completely new kind of ground vehicle. Soviet engineers, keeping a close eye on changes in military doctrine, understood that the next generation tank had to have firepower capable of piercing not just enemy armor but the psychological barrier of fear. That's how the T-62 was born, the world's first mass-produced tank with a smoothbore gun, 115 mm in caliber. This gun was a real breakthrough. Unlike rifled barrels, the smoothbore design allowed much higher projectile velocity, and that meant better armor penetration. When the T-62 first appeared, it was a technological masterpiece. But time never stands still. By the 1980s, with the rise of modern anti-tank systems and more advanced enemy armor, it became clear that the base model needed serious improvement. That's when the T-62M was born. The upgrade wasn't just cosmetic. It was a full-blown rebirth. First, the armor. The tank received contact explosive reactive armor, improved frontal protection on the hull and turret, and side skirts against shaped charges. This made the T-62M significantly more survivable in modern combat. RPGs, heat rounds, it could take a hit and keep going, and do it with pride. Then came the targeting system. Gone was the simple mechanical sight, in came a laser rangefinder and ballistic computer. Now, the gunner wasn't just firing, he was destroying with precision. The stabilization system allowed the tank to fire on the move, giving it a serious edge in mobile engagements. As for the engine, that too saw important upgrades. The 12-cylinder V55U diesel engine produced 620 horsepower, not record-breaking by modern standards, but more than enough to confidently move a 40-ton machine across rugged terrain, mountains, deserts, mud, or snow. And most importantly, the engine was easy to maintain. Experienced mechanics could replace it within hours right in the field. That's what real reliability means. The main gun, the pride of the T-62M. The U-5TS Malot, or hammer, that had already seen fire, mud, and steel, still packed a punch even decades later. With updated sights and ammo, it remained lethal. Sure, unlike newer tanks, the T-62M didn't have an autoloader. But with a skilled four-man crew, it didn't need one. That human teamwork inside the tank, it mattered. It created a rhythm, a unity, a battlefield chemistry that machines can't replicate. Inside the tank, everything is utilitarian. No frills. No extras. Every screw, every lever exists for one reason: to survive and destroy. The commander, gunner, loader, and driver each know their place, their mission. It's tight, yes, but in battle, that tightness becomes focus, becomes discipline. But let's not just talk specs. The T-62M is also a symbol of its time. It served in Afghanistan, where it proved itself as a tough and reliable fighter in mountainous terrain and guerrilla warfare. It fought in Chechnya, in the Middle East, in Libya, Yemen, and even today, decades later, it still sees combat. Not because there's nothing better, but because it still works. It moves, it shoots, it protects, and it wins. And that earns respect. One of the most fascinating aspects is how different countries have approached modernizing the T-62M. Some added thermal imagers, digital communications, even modern fire control systems. In some versions, it's even linked with drones for battlefield integration. Just imagine a tank from the 1960s working side by side with 21st century UAVs. That's a generational alliance that actually works. In a world where tanks are becoming more complex and expensive, where every bolt needs a laptop to diagnose, the T-62M remains a monument to engineering minimalism. Simplicity isn't a flaw, it's a feature. It means the tank can be fixed in the field. It means a soldier doesn't need months of tech training to drive it. It means that when everything else fails, this tank still rolls forward. The T-62M is like the old reliable Kalashnikov rifle. You know it's not fancy, but you trust it. And that trust that's priceless. It doesn't promise miracles. But it does its job. Day after day. Year after year. And here's something people rarely talk about: the psychological effect. When the T-62M rolls onto the battlefield, with its iconic silhouette, its diesel roar, its long barrel pointed straight ahead, it shakes the enemy. It may not be the newest. It may not be the fastest. But it radiates experience. And that experience intimidates. Warns. Wins. This has been ZK Auto Reviews. Today we immersed ourselves in the world of real armor, into a machine that proved that even after half a century, it can still be a force to reckon with. The T-62M isn't just a tank, it's a lesson. A lesson in practical engineering, military wisdom, and unshakable resilience. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the ZK Auto Reviews channel, and leave a comment below. Tell us which military vehicle you'd love to see covered in the next episode. Your support helps us bring you more quality content. Until next time, friends, and may the roar of engines always be music to those who understand the true power of machines.